Hello everyone. Welcome to the Paid Pod. And I'm especially excited about today's topic because we are talking about what I like to call Upwork's silent ranking system. So you could have the perfect profile, glowing reviews, and still you're buried. How? Not on page 2, not even on page 10. Right? We're talking about digital oblivion. Like, imagine a best-selling book hidden behind a locked glass case in the back of a dusty library, like dustier than Hogwarts. And the worst part, you don't even know what's happened. You log in, everything looks normal, but under the surface, the system has quietly decided, yeah, you don't belong in the spotlight. This is the silent ranking system. Most freelancers actually imagine Upwork as a meritocracy. The best profiles will naturally rise to the top, right? It's a comforting idea, but the truth is far less romantic. Upwork's algorithm doesn't exist to make things fair. Its primary job is to reduce risk for clients. Its primary job is to protect clients from risk. So that means it is tracking every single thing, every click, every scroll, every idle week, and it's scoring you in ways you cannot see. And then these scores decide whether you're in the shop window or they shove you in the stock room where nobody browses. So the reality is, most freelancers will never figure this out. And it's not because the system is complicated. It's just because nobody ever takes them behind the curtain to see how it actually decides who gets seen. And the few people who do understand it, they look like they're playing an entirely different game. It's smoother, it's faster, and they're playing with clients that are chasing them instead of things being the other way around. So on paper, you might be amazing. You've got a flawless profile, flawless photo, a headline that snaps, dozens of 5-star reviews. But in Upwork's eyes, amazing is not enough. They want recently validated amazing. So think of it like fresh produce. I've got a Mandarin right here, so. Okay, the best looking apples in the world still get pushed to the back of the shelf if they've been sitting there for too long. So the longer you go without a successful contract, the more the system hesitates to actually put you in front of clients. So the next thing I want to talk about is engagement quality. This is your invisible batting average, and I'd like to thank, a little somebody for teaching me about this. So here's the hidden lever on Upwork. Engagement quality. So I want you to imagine yourself as a cricket player. Please stay with me. I used to despise the sport, but now I think I understand. So every single swing, every single proposal that you send, every invite that you reply to gets logged. If you swing at everything, especially the balls that you can't hit, then your average tanks. Reply to low quality invites way too often, your score drops. Ghost your clients, your score drops. So basically now you have to start seeing that Upwork has nothing to do with volume. It cares more about precision, and precision when it comes to your skills. So I once worked with a freelancer who was really sure that more was better. I won't name you, but you know yourself. So they sent something crazy like 15 proposals a day. Every single day, rain or shine, over 100 swings a week. When we checked their metrics, I almost said the gender, only 2 proposals had led to interviews. That's a 2% batting average. So in sport, your coach would look at you and be like, nah, you're getting benched, right? On Upwork, instead of getting benched, you get buried. Then there's something called skill stack decay. The skills that you list on your Upwork, they are not permanent monuments carved into stone. They're like fruit at a market. Back to the fresh fruit thing. Fresh fruit gets the prime display. Fruit that has been sitting there for way too long on the display moves to the clearance rack. and then eventually it disappears. So personally, and there was a top-rated freelancer that myself and the squad during version 2 was studying, right? We saw this with this top-rated designer, right? And they did UI UX, they did make, and they did automations and a bunch of other stuff. So they were top-rated. And their headline proudly featured branding and things like that. They were brilliant, okay? They were also brilliant offline. So it seemed like they had started their own thing and they were moving countries, and at the same time they were managing big corporate campaigns. But on Upwork, they had not done a single project in a couple of months. So to the Upwork algorithm, their skills were stale. So when we stopped looking at that particular freelancer as one of our blueprints, remember success leaves clues? Our freelancer inside the squad who had been using this particular person as a muse started to do better because we landed them a smaller branding project. It was quick, it was easy, and it was nothing glamorous, but we knew that it would signal to the algorithm active user. So within 2 weeks, their profile shot back up, and not the muse, the freelancer inside the squad. Their profile shot back up in search results for this particular niche, which is automations and branding and UI UX design, after nearly a month in the shadows studying, right? Then there's something else that basically kind of mirrors your window appeal. If you imagine your profile on Upwork as a shop. And this is client dwell time. So client dwell time measures how long a client spends on your profile before they click away. So like I said, picture yourself owning a boutique on a very busy street or in a really busy mall if you're in South Africa. If people stop, glance in the window, and then keep on walking, obviously something is wrong with the display. On Upwork, if a client stops, clicks on your profile, and then bounces, and after 5 seconds, it signals to the algorithm that there's a mismatch. So if you get enough of those bounces, meaning enough of those peek, walk away, the system stops sending people your way. So it's got nothing to do with looking really, really pretty and having a nice profile picture and aesthetic. Relevance, that's the only thing that matters. If a client is searching for email marketing and then they click through and your opening lines are about web design, they are out of here. They're gone. And the system notices that. And then a spiral starts to happen. Here's where things start to get brutal. These signals I've been telling you about, they start to loop together. 1 month of poor engagement leads to fewer appearances the next month. And that means fewer invites, which means longer gaps without being hired, which means more skill decay. When I say skill decay, I mean the skills that are on your profile are no longer seen as relevant. The skills on your profile, they're the fresh produce. They are decaying, right? And then it becomes like quicksand. Right? The harder you flail without a strategy, that's the faster you sink. And I have watched profiles go from 1,200 search appearances to under 100 without them even receiving a single bad review, or them changing their rate, or their JSS tanking, or them hiding how much money they were making. All the things that we seem to think are the reasons why our profiles are just not showing up. The only difference, invisible signals sliding the wrong way. And getting unstuck when you're in quicksand, I've seen it on YouTube. Thank goodness I've never experienced it, but I've seen that getting unstuck is not magic. It has a couple of steps. And the very first step that I want you to take, stop feeding the system bad data. I want you to, number 1, filter out invitations that you know you'll never convert. Then the other thing that I want you to do is to go in and run an audit of your shelves. See which produce is decayed. Let's get rid of all those fruit and veg that are rotten. The second step that I want you to take for me is to land something tied to your core skills. Used to call them low-hanging fruit skills, but now they're like the nucleus of the cell that we call your Upwork ecosystem. And I want you to land something, anything, even if it's small. That way we reset your freshness. So imagine that small thing being like us switching on the refrigerators once again inside the grocery store so that the fruit are fresh again, right? So then, finally, the third step that I want you to take is to engineer profile visits that stick. Well, how do I do that? By aligning your visible content with what clients expect to see when they click. So if you're going to be selling Klaviyo email marketing, can your first line please have absolutely nothing to do with landing page copywriting? Because yeah, maybe they might be somehow related. It's not the thing that you're selling. So make sure that you align your visible content with what clients expect to see when they click. And because of this, we actually have an example in the squad, a freelancer who went from completely invisible, completely brand new, to the top of the page in 14 days using nothing but these steps. She didn't even have to reset. She just did all of these things. No profile rewrites, no massive ad spend on connects, just targeted actions. And then she was able to start climbing the ladder. So there's something called a visibility ladder. Visibility on Upwork kind of has 5 rungs. You've got your recent hire rung, skill validation, engagement quality, client dwell time, consistency, right at the top. So if you are walking and you miss a single rung, of course you're going to stumble. Your climb is going to slow. But if you nail every single rung, then you accelerate, you gain momentum. And the reason why this rung or this ladder matters now more than ever is because the Upwork algorithm is getting stricter. Now, during the summer of the Northern Hemisphere, for us it's winter in the South, Upwork has heavily embraced artificial intelligence. And I'm talking beyond Upwork's own mindful AI or UMA. They are so good now at like scraping your profile and getting the match with your ICP right. And if any of those keywords make no sense, stick around, I'll teach you what those mean. But basically AI generated proposals on the platform are flooding the market. And I'm sure you've seen the ads. My previous podcast episode was about, automating proposal writing. So basically what that means is that Upwork has no choice but to tighten who gets seen to avoid overwhelming the clients, which means signal quality is no longer something that's a nice to have. Signal quality is the new skill. And here's the truth that most people are going to miss. You do not have to overhaul your skills. You do not have to overhaul your rates or your portfolio to fix your visibility. You really just need to know which levers to pull and when. And then once you do that, you're going to stop wondering if you're good enough. And you're going to start wondering why you didn't figure it out sooner. So now that you know the system, the next time we're going to talk about the hidden danger in saying yes to every single invite. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned.